Every night you wake up to use the bathroom, your body is sending you a signal that most people over 65 completely misread. This is not simply aging, and it is not something you have to accept as normal. It is a pattern that is quietly stealing your deep sleep, weakening your immune system, and putting unnecessary strain on your bladder and kidneys night after night. But starting tonight, 3 specific steps taken before bed can begin to retrain your body and give you back the uninterrupted rest you deserve. In my previous video, I explained why nighttime urination, a condition doctors call nocturia, is far more than a minor inconvenience, and how certain foods and drinks consumed during the day can silently overstimulate your bladder by the time you lie down. Today, I am taking that conversation one step further. I am Dr. Chima Okoye, and I'm going to walk you through a simple 3-step night routine designed specifically for adults over 65 that can significantly reduce how often your body wakes you up to urinate. According to the National Institutes of Health, 2020, nocturia affects up to 77% of older adults and is one of the leading causes of sleep disruption in people over the age of 65. Yet most people are never given practical tools to address it. If you are new here, subscribe now so you never miss a health update that could change how you sleep and how you feel. Drop your questions in the comments below, and if you find this helpful, please give it a like so more people can benefit. The first problem happens earlier in the day than most people realize, and it has nothing to do with what you drink at night. Most adults over 65 follow a habit that seems completely harmless. They drink the majority of their fluids in the evening. Perhaps it is a large glass of water with dinner, herbal tea after a meal, or sipping throughout the hours before bed because they forgot to drink enough during the day. It feels responsible. It feels like they are staying hydrated. But for your bladder, it creates a flooding effect at precisely the wrong time. Here is what is actually happening inside your body. Your kidneys produce urine continuously, but the rate at which they produce it slows significantly during sleep, a process regulated by a hormone called ADH, or antidiuretic hormone. However, when you consume large amounts of fluid in the 2 to 3 hours before bed, you overwhelm your bladder's storage capacity before ADH even has a chance to slow urine production down. The result is that your bladder reaches its threshold in the middle of the night, and your brain receives the signal to wake you up, often 2, 3, or even 4 times before morning. The correction is a habit called fluid frontloading, and it is one of the most clinically supported lifestyle adjustments for nocturia. The principle is simple. You consume the majority of your daily fluids, roughly 70%, before 5 p.m., and you taper your intake significantly in the hours that follow. According to a study published by the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases, 2019, patients with nocturia who adopted structured fluid timing reported a reduction in nighttime bathroom trips by up to 40% within 4 weeks. A separate clinical review referenced by the American Urological Association, 2021, confirmed that fluid restriction in the 2 hours before sleep is one of the most effective non-medication strategies for managing nighttime urinary frequency in older adults. Let me tell you about a patient of mine, Mr. Frank Adeyemi, a 68-year-old retired civil engineer. He came to me exhausted. He said, "Doctor, I haven't slept more than 2 hours straight in over a year. I wake up 3, sometimes 4 times a night. I'm tired all day and I cannot function the way I used to." I asked him one simple question. "When do you drink most of your water?" He paused, thought about it, and said, "Mostly in the evenings, I suppose. I get busy during the day and forget." I asked him to make one change only: drink the bulk of his fluids before 4 p.m. and limit himself to small sips after dinner. 6 weeks later, he came back and I saw a completely different man. He looked at me and said, "Doctor, I slept 5 hours straight last Tuesday. I almost did not know what to do with myself." I smiled and told him, "Your bladder did not change. We just stopped asking it to hold a flood at midnight." Many patients ask me, "Doctor, won't drinking less at night leave me dehydrated?" The answer is no, as long as you are meeting your total daily fluid needs earlier in the day. Your body does not require large amounts of water in the evening to stay hydrated overnight. Another common question I hear is, what if I get thirsty before bed? A few small sips are perfectly fine. The goal is not elimination, it is shifting the timing. Starting tomorrow, set a reminder at 4 p.m. as your fluid cutoff point. Before that hour, drink consistently and well. After that, keep it to small, deliberate sips only and watch what happens to your nights. Tell me in the comments, what time do you usually drink most of your water? And will you try shifting that tomorrow? Also hit that subscribe button if you have learned something new. Now, let's move to the second step, and this one addresses something that happens inside your body during the hours just before sleep that most people never consider. As the evening progresses and your body begins preparing for rest, blood that has been pooling in your legs throughout the day, particularly in the lower limbs, begins to redistribute upward through your circulation. In older adults, this process is more pronounced because vein elasticity weakens with age, making it harder for the body to move that fluid efficiently. When this pooled fluid reaches your kidneys, they process it and send it directly to your bladder. This is why many seniors who feel no urge to urinate at 9 p.m. find themselves awake at midnight and again at 2 a.m. The fluid redistribution is still happening while they sleep. The correction is an evening leg elevation habit, and it works by intercepting that fluid before you go to bed rather than letting your kidneys handle it while you sleep. When you elevate your legs for 30 to 45 minutes in the early evening, ideally between 6 and 7 p.m., you encourage that pooled fluid to redistribute while you are still awake and able to respond to your bladder naturally. Your kidneys process it, you urinate once before bed, and far less fluid remains to disturb you during the night. According to research supported by the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute 2018, leg elevation in older adults reduced lower limb fluid accumulation by approximately 35% when practiced consistently in the hours before sleep. A separate finding referenced by the Mayo Clinic 2020 noted that seniors who incorporated evening leg elevation as part of a nocturia management plan experienced a meaningful reduction in nighttime voids within 3 to 6 weeks. To do this safely, simply lie on your sofa or bed and rest your legs on 2 or 3 firm pillows so that your feet sit slightly above the level of your heart. There is no stretching required, no discomfort, and no special equipment. Think of it as passive therapy. You are simply allowing gravity to do the work your veins cannot do as efficiently as they once did. 30 minutes is enough. One of my patients, Mrs. Mila Simone, a 71-year-old retired school principal, came to me frustrated. She told me, "Doctor, I do everything right. I barely drink anything after 6, but I still wake up twice every night." I asked her one question. "Do you sit for most of the evening?" She said yes, usually reading or watching television. I asked her to elevate her legs on pillows for 40 minutes each evening before her usual bedtime preparation. When she returned 5 weeks later, her voice was lighter. She said, "Doctor, last week I slept through to 4 a.m. twice. That has not happened in 3 years." What had changed was not her kidneys. It was the timing of when her body processed the day's retained fluid. Many viewers ask me, is this really necessary if I already limit my fluids at night? Yes, because fluid restriction alone does not address the fluid already stored in your legs. Elevation does. And for those who ask, what if I have knee pain or cannot lie flat comfortably? You do not need to lie fully flat. Sitting in a recliner with your legs raised to hip level or above is equally effective. The angle matters far more than the position. Starting this evening, set a reminder for 6 p.m. Lie back, place your legs on pillows, and rest there for 30 to 40 minutes. You may find you need to urinate once shortly afterward. That is exactly what is supposed to happen. Your body is clearing the fluid on your schedule, not at 2 a.m. Tell me in the comments, do you spend most of your evenings sitting, and did you know that could be affecting your sleep? Now we come to the third step, and this is the one that works quietly in the background while you sleep, which is exactly why most people never think to address it. During sleep, your body relies on a delicate balance between the nervous system's 2 operating states, the sympathetic state, which keeps you alert and reactive, and the parasympathetic state, which governs rest, repair, and critically, bladder control. When you go to bed with unresolved physical tension, a racing mind, or elevated cortisol from the stress of the day, your nervous system remains partially in the sympathetic state. In this condition, your bladder becomes hypersensitive. It signals urgency at lower volumes than it normally would, meaning your brain receives a wake-up signal even when your bladder is only partially full. This is not a bladder problem. It is a nervous system problem, and it responds to a very specific kind of intervention. The habit is a structured pre-sleep bladder calm routine, which combines two elements: a slow diaphragmatic breathing sequence and a single deliberate bathroom visit with a specific technique. Together, these two things shift your nervous system into full parasympathetic dominance before you lie down, lowering bladder sensitivity and reducing the likelihood of false urgency signals during the night. According to a clinical study published by the National Institute on Aging 2019, structured relaxation techniques practiced immediately before sleep reduced nocturia episodes in older adults by up to 33% over an 8-week period. The American Urological Association 2022 further noted that bladder hypersensitivity in seniors is frequently driven by nervous system overactivation rather than true bladder capacity issues, and that non-pharmacological calming strategies show measurable clinical benefit. Here is how to do it. Approximately 20 minutes before bed, sit in a quiet, dimly lit space and take 10 slow, deliberate breaths. Inhaling for 4 counts through your nose, holding gently for 2 counts, and exhaling for 6 counts through your mouth. This extended exhale is what activates the parasympathetic response. Then visit the bathroom once, but do so without straining or rushing. Sit calmly, breathe slowly, and allow your bladder to empty completely at its own pace. Do not push, do not hurry. This single, unhurried bathroom visit, done in a calm state, signals to your nervous system that the bladder has been properly addressed and that no further urgency is needed during sleep. I want to share the story of Mr. Emmanuel Osei, a 74-year-old retired accountant who came to me looking genuinely worn down. He told me, "Doctor, I wake up 4 times a night. I've tried everything. I drink less, I elevate my legs, but something still wakes me up even when I barely feel the urge." I asked him, "What do you do in the 20 minutes before you get into bed?" He thought about it and said, "Watch the news, usually. Sometimes I check my phone." I asked him to replace those final 20 minutes with the breathing sequence and one slow, calm bathroom visit. Nothing else changed. 3 weeks later, he sat across from me and said, "Doctor, I wake up once now, sometimes not at all." What had shifted was his nervous system's relationship with his bladder. It had finally received the signal that it was safe to rest. Many viewers ask me, "Can breathing really affect my bladder?" It sounds unlikely, but the science is clear. Your bladder wall contains nerve receptors that respond directly to autonomic nervous system signals. Calm the system, and you calm the bladder. And for those who say, "Doctor, I have anxiety and I struggle to quiet my mind at night," this routine is especially important for you. It does not require a quiet mind to begin. It creates one. Tonight, 20 minutes before you sleep, turn off the television, put the phone down, and take 10 slow breaths. Then visit the bathroom once, calmly and without rushing. Do those 2 things consistently, and within 2 to 3 weeks, your nights will begin to look very different. Tell me in the comments, what do you usually do in the last 20 minutes before bed? And do you think it might be affecting how your body sleeps? Bladder health and the quality of sleep that depends on it is never shaped by one dramatic choice. It is built or broken by the small, repeated things you do each evening without even thinking about them. In my previous video, I walked you through the hidden daytime habits and foods that overstimulate your bladder long before you ever reach bedtime. And if you have not watched that one yet, it will make everything in today's video even more powerful. The 2 videos work together, and your body will feel the difference when you apply both. I am Dr. Chima Okoye, and my commitment on this channel is straightforward: to give you the kind of clear, practical, evidence-based guidance that helps you take real control of your health after 65. You deserve answers that actually work, not vague advice that leaves you where you started. What we covered today is simple enough to begin tonight. Just as Frank Adeyemi reclaimed uninterrupted sleep simply by shifting when he drank his fluids, and just as Mila Simone added 40 minutes of leg elevation and woke up 3 years younger, And just as Emmanuel Osai replaced 20 minutes of television with calm breathing and went from 4 wake-ups to almost none. The same results are available to you through front-loading your fluids before 5 p.m., elevating your legs in the early evening to clear pooled fluid before sleep, and following a quiet pre-sleep routine that calms your nervous system and your bladder together. None of this requires a prescription, a clinic visit, or any equipment you do not already have. Everything you need to sleep through the night is already within your reach, starting tonight. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 3 steps will you try first? Or are you ready to commit to all 3 together? Drop your answer in the comments below. I read every single one and may respond to yours in the next video. Subscribe so you do not miss upcoming videos that could protect your health and your sleep. And if this was helpful, please give it a like so more people who need this information can find it. Your nights are too valuable to keep losing. Choose one thing from today, do it tonight, and let your body show you what is still possible.